I watched my mother sob dramatically in the witness stand as she pointed directly at me. "We gave you every opportunity, and you threw it away!" Patricia cried, her voice echoing through the packed courtroom in downtown Minneapolis. My father, Robert, nodded gravely beside their attorney, his face a mask of disappointed righteousness. Around me sat extended family members, former high school classmates, and local business associates who had come to witness what they believed would be my public destruction. Their lawyer was presenting fabricated documents claiming I had stolen $50,000 from my parents' retirement fund through my tech startup. My own attorney, Sarah, remained strangely calm, despite the damning accusations swirling around us. 6 months earlier, everything seemed perfect in my world. I had spent 3 years building CloudGuard analytics from the ground up in my Minneapolis apartment, developing cybersecurity software that could detect financial fraud for small businesses across the Midwest. The late nights coding the countless rejections from investors, the ramen noodle dinners had finally started paying off. Local tech blogs were writing articles about my company, and venture capitalists from Chicago were scheduling meetings. That Tuesday morning in March, Robert and Patricia knocked on my apartment door with excitement dancing in their eyes. Patricia, who had sold real estate in Edina for 15 years, clutched a printed article about tech startups receiving millions in funding. Robert recently retired after 30 years managing loan portfolios at Wells Fargo, carried a leather briefcase that looked suspiciously official. "Johnny, we read about these computer companies getting all this money." Patricia began settling onto my second-hand couch. "That boy who started Facebook, the Google people, all those California kids making billions. We want in." I poured coffee into mismatched mugs while explaining that most startups fail within 2 years. "Mom, Dad, this is incredibly risky. Most investors lose everything. I appreciate the confidence, but your retirement savings should stay in safe investments." Robert opened his briefcase and pulled out a cashier's check for $50,000. "Son, we believe in you more than some stranger in a suit from California. This money represents our faith in your abilities." The pressure mounted over the following weeks. Every family dinner became a negotiation session. My younger sister Emily, who worked as a pediatric nurse at Children's Minnesota, supported their decision enthusiastically. "John, they raised 2 successful kids. They deserve to share in your success story." Emily had always been the family peacemaker, graduating summa cum laude from the University of Minnesota nursing program while maintaining perfect relationships with everyone. Her blonde hair and bright smile made her naturally likable, and she possessed an uncanny ability to mediate family conflicts. When she supported the investment idea, my resistance crumbled. Against my better judgment, I accepted their money in May. We signed contracts that clearly stated the investment carried high risks with no guaranteed returns. Patricia and Robert seemed to understand, completely nodding enthusiastically as my attorney explained every clause. They appeared genuinely excited about supporting my entrepreneurial dreams. CloudGuard's growth accelerated through the summer. We signed contracts with 12 small businesses across Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa. My software successfully prevented 4 major fraud attempts, saving clients over $200,000. Local newspapers interviewed me about cybersecurity trends, and Minnesota Public Radio featured CloudGuard in a segment about innovative regional startups. But in August, everything changed overnight. 3 months after accepting my parents' investment, I discovered something that would shatter my understanding of family loyalty forever. While reviewing security logs for unusual access patterns, my software detected unauthorized attempts to access our client database from external IP addresses. The attempts occurred during regular business hours, suggesting someone with legitimate access was providing login credentials to outside parties. My heart sank as I traced the security breach deeper. Restaurant security footage from Giuseppe's Italian Bistro in downtown Minneapolis showed my father Robert sitting across from Marcus Thompson, my former Northwestern University roommate, sliding an envelope across their table. Marcus owned TechSecure Solutions, CloudGuard's biggest competitor in the regional cybersecurity market. The timestamp showed Tuesday, August 15th at exactly 2:30 in the afternoon. The envelope contained our complete client list, including contact information, contract details, and confidential security assessments. I watched my father betray 3 years of my life's work over a plate of chicken parmesan. Confronting my parents required every ounce of courage I possessed. I drove to their split-level home in Edina on a Thursday evening, carrying printed screenshots of bank records and security footage that would change our relationship forever. The house where I had grown up suddenly felt foreign and threatening. Patricia answered the door wearing her favorite purple cardigan, the one she claimed brought good luck during real estate showings. "Johnny, what a wonderful surprise. I just made your favorite chocolate chip cookies." Robert sat in his leather recliner watching the Minnesota Twins game of beer balanced on his armrest. The normalcy of the scene made what I had to say even more surreal. "Dad, we need to discuss your meeting with Marcus Thompson last week." His face drained of color instantly. Patricia's cheerful expression dissolved into something I had never seen before. Calculated defiance mixed with genuine fear. They exchanged glances that confirmed my worst suspicions. "Son, I can explain everything." Robert began muting the television. "Marcus approached us about a business opportunity that would guarantee our investment returns. He said your company was struggling financially and that we might lose everything." Patricia joined the conversation with practiced ease. "We were protecting ourselves, Johnny. Marcus showed us documents proving CloudGuard was heading toward bankruptcy. He offered to buy our shares before the company collapsed completely." The lies came so naturally that I wondered how long they had been planning this betrayal. Marcus had convinced them to systematically sabotage my business in exchange for their original $50,000 plus a 20% profit. TechSecure would purchase CloudGuard's assets after the engineered bankruptcy for a fraction of their actual value. "Marcus promised we would get $70,000 total," Robert explained. "10,000 more than we invested plus our original money back. It seemed like the smart choice." I showed them bank records proving Marcus had already paid Robert $15,000 in 3 separate installments over the past month. They had used the money for a vacation to Hawaii, a down payment on a new Buick Enclave for Patricia, and kitchen renovations that were scheduled to begin next week. Emily arrived as our argument reached its peak. She had received my frantic text message and driven straight from the hospital still wearing scrubs decorated with cartoon animals. Her usual diplomatic demeanor evaporated when I explained the situation. "You cannot be serious," she whispered, staring at our parents. "You sabotaged John's company, the same company you begged him to let you invest in." Patricia's defensive walls crumbled slightly. "Emily, sweetheart, you do not understand business. Marcus explained that most startups fail anyway. We were just protecting our financial future before John lost everything." But my security software had detected more than family betrayal. 3 of my most trusted employees had been feeding information to TechSecure for weeks. Jennifer Walsh, my lead programmer, who had worked beside me for 2 years, had been copying source code and sending it to Marcus via encrypted email. Tom Rodriguez, my business development manager, had been sharing client meeting notes and pricing strategies. Even Lisa Chen, my office manager, who handled payroll and accounting, had provided detailed financial records about CloudGuard's operating expenses and profit margins. The scope of the conspiracy was staggering. Marcus had infiltrated my company at every level while simultaneously convincing my family that I was incompetent and untrustworthy. Over the past month, 12 major clients had mysteriously canceled their contracts with CloudGuard. Marcus had been using our stolen client information to systematically poach customers by undercutting our prices and revealing our confidential bidding strategies. Midwest Manufacturing Solutions. Our biggest client, worth $60,000 annually, had terminated their contract after TechSecure somehow knew exactly what price to bid for their security upgrade. Prairie Financial Group canceled their fraud detection service when Marcus offered identical software for 40% less than our agreed rate. Even small clients like Johnson Family Dental and Riverside Auto Repair had switched to TechSecure after receiving unsolicited sales calls that referenced private conversations they had only shared with CloudGuard representatives. My parents sat silently as I presented evidence of their collaboration in destroying my life's work. Robert's retirement from banking had clearly not diminished his ability to orchestrate financial schemes. Patricia's real estate experience had taught her how to present lies convincingly to achieve desired outcomes. The evening ended with Emily storming out after calling our parents morally bankrupt. She slammed their front door so hard that the decorative glass panel cracked diagonally. I followed her to the driveway where she leaned against her Honda Civic, crying tears of frustration and embarrassment. "I supported this investment because I thought they believed in you," she whispered. "I convinced you to take their money. This is partially my fault." But the worst revelation was yet to come. As I prepared to leave, Patricia grabbed my arm with surprising strength. Her fingernails dug into my skin as she delivered words that would haunt me for months. "Marcus showed us articles about companies like yours failing every day. He proved that you were going to lose our retirement savings through poor management and unrealistic expectations. We had to protect ourselves because you clearly cannot handle adult responsibilities." The next morning, my nightmare escalated beyond family betrayal into legal warfare that would threaten everything I had built. Marcus Thompson moved with surgical precision to destroy what remained of my reputation and business. On Friday morning, just 12 hours after my confrontation with my parents, a Hennepin County Sheriff's deputy knocked on my apartment door with an official restraining order. Marcus had filed court documents claiming I had been harassing him with threatening phone calls and emails, demanding he stop competing with CloudGuard. The restraining order prohibited me from contacting Marcus directly or indirectly, visiting any TechSecure locations, or discussing their business practices with mutual acquaintances. Violating the order would result in immediate arrest and criminal charges. Marcus had effectively silenced me while he completed his systematic destruction of my company. By Monday morning, Robert and Patricia had retained David Kellerman, one of Minneapolis's most aggressive family law attorneys, specializing in financial disputes between relatives. Kellerman's law firm occupied an entire floor of the IDS Tower downtown, and his reputation for destroying opposing parties in court was legendary throughout the Twin Cities legal community. The lawsuit they filed accused me of fraud, embezzlement, and intentional misrepresentation of CloudGuard's financial stability. According to their claims, I had promised guaranteed returns on their investment while knowing my company was failing. They demanded immediate repayment of their $50,000 investment, plus punitive damages, legal fees, and interest that could total over $100,000. Kellerman had constructed a masterpiece of legal fiction supported by doctored evidence that appeared devastatingly convincing. Fabricated email exchanges showed me promising my parents that their investment would triple within 6 months. Fake text message screenshots captured conversations where I allegedly admitted CloudGuard was struggling but needed their money to avoid bankruptcy. Bank records had been altered to suggest I had transferred company funds to personal accounts for luxury purchases. The Minneapolis Star-Tribune picked up the story on Tuesday with a headline that made me physically nauseous. Local tech entrepreneur accused of defrauding parents' retirement savings. The article painted me as a selfish son who had exploited his family's trust to fund a failing business venture. Patricia and Robert were portrayed as innocent victims who had believed in their child's dreams only to discover his fundamental dishonesty. My remaining employees began questioning my integrity and considering resignation. Jennifer Walsh, Tom Rodriguez, and Lisa Chen had already been secretly working for Marcus. But now my honest employees worried about CloudGuard's stability. Mark Peterson, my talented systems administrator, submitted his 2 weeks' notice after reading the newspaper article. Sarah Williams, our customer service representative, started applying for jobs at competing firms. The public humiliation extended beyond professional consequences into personal devastation. My girlfriend Amanda, who had supported me through 3 years of startup struggles, finally reached her breaking point. We had dated since college, and she had endured countless evenings alone while I worked late coding software updates and preparing client presentations. "John, I cannot handle this anymore," she announced on Wednesday evening, packing clothes from my dresser into a duffel bag. "The newspaper article, the lawsuit your family turning against you. It is too much drama for me to process." Amanda was a marketing coordinator at Target's corporate headquarters who valued stability and predictability above all else. Her blonde hair was always perfectly styled, her outfits coordinated with professional precision, and her life planned according to detailed schedules. The chaos surrounding CloudGuard violated every principle she held dear about successful relationships. "People at work are asking if I knew about the embezzlement allegations." She continued avoiding eye contact while folding sweaters. "My parents think I should distance myself from you until this legal mess gets resolved." I begged her to stay, explaining that the accusations were completely fabricated, but she had already made her decision. "Amanda, you know me better than anyone. You have watched me build this company from nothing. Do you honestly believe I would steal from my own parents?" She paused at my apartment door with tears streaming down her cheeks. "I want to believe you, John, but everyone cannot be lying. Your parents, the lawyer, the newspaper. Why would they all be wrong?" First National Bank froze CloudGuard's business accounts, pending their investigation into the embezzlement allegations. Without access to operating capital, I could not pay rent for our office space, cover payroll for remaining employees, or purchase necessary software licenses. The financial pressure Marcus had orchestrated was suffocating my company exactly as he had planned. But on Thursday afternoon, an unexpected development changed everything. A mysterious package arrived at my apartment with no return address, containing documents that would expose the full scope of Marcus's elaborate conspiracy. The package held internal tech-secure emails, financial records, and audio recordings that revealed how long Marcus had been planning my destruction. The documents showed that Marcus had been strategizing this scheme for over a year, beginning shortly after reading about CloudGuard's early success in Minnesota Business Magazine. He had created detailed psychological profiles of my family members, identifying their financial insecurities and personal weaknesses that could be exploited. Patricia's profile noted her fear of retirement poverty and desire to appear financially sophisticated among her real estate colleagues. Robert's assessment highlighted his diminished sense of purpose after retirement and need to feel important in business decisions. Emily's analysis recognized her role as family mediator and natural tendency to support parental authority. Most disturbing were transcripts of recorded phone conversations where Marcus coached Robert on what lies to tell in court. He had scripted emotional responses for Patricia and provided specific details about startup failures to make their concerns appear legitimate. Marcus had even researched my childhood behavioral patterns to suggest I had always been irresponsible with money. The recordings captured Marcus laughing about how easily he had manipulated my family into betraying me. "Robert is so desperate to feel relevant again that he will believe anything I tell him about business," Marcus said during one conversation. "Patricia just wants to look smart in front of her real estate friends, so she pretends to understand investments. But these documents would prove meaningless if I could not present them in court. With my reputation destroyed, my business failing, and my family testifying against me, I needed a legal miracle to survive what Marcus had orchestrated. That miracle arrived in the form of Sarah Chen, an attorney who would change my life forever. Judge Harrison's courtroom in the Hennepin County Government Center felt like a gladiatorial arena designed for public humiliation. The gallery was packed with extended family members, former high school classmates, and local business associates who had come to witness what they expected would be my complete professional and personal destruction. Whispered conversations filled the air as people speculated about how much money I had allegedly stolen and whether criminal charges would follow. David Kellerman commanded the courtroom with the confidence of a man who had never lost a family financial dispute. His silver hair was perfectly styled, his navy blue suit tailored to perfection, and his voice carried the authority of someone accustomed to destroying reputations for a living. He had arranged evidence tables with theatrical precision, displaying fabricated bank statements, doctored emails, and fake text message printouts that told a convincing story of my dishonesty and greed. My attorney, Sarah Chen, appeared almost fragile beside Kellerman's imposing presence. She was a junior partner at a small firm specializing in business litigation, with dark hair pulled back in a simple ponytail and wearing an understated gray suit that looked inexpensive compared to Kellerman's designer wardrobe. Her calm demeanor seemed inappropriate given the overwhelming evidence against me, and I worried that I had chosen inadequate representation for this critical battle. Judge Harrison, a distinguished man in his early 60s with graying temples and wire-rimmed glasses, had presided over Hennepin County civil cases for over 20 years. His reputation for fairness was matched only by his intolerance for dishonesty, making him exactly the wrong judge to face while accused of defrauding my own parents. Kellerman's opening statement painted me as a manipulative son who had exploited his family's love and trust to fund a failing business venture. Your Honor, this case represents the worst kind of betrayal, a child preying upon his parents' retirement dreams to support his unrealistic entrepreneurial fantasies. The evidence will show that John deliberately misrepresented his company's financial stability, promised guaranteed returns he knew were impossible, and used their life savings to delay CloudGuard's inevitable bankruptcy. He presented fake bank statements showing suspicious transfers from CloudGuard's business account to my personal checking account. The amounts were relatively small, $500 here, $1,200 there, but the frequency suggested a pattern of systematic embezzlement over several months. Kellerman explained each transaction as evidence of my gradual theft of family resources to support a lavish lifestyle while my company failed. The fabricated email exchanges were devastatingly convincing. One supposedly sent to Patricia in April read, "Mom, CloudGuard is about to secure major venture capital funding that will triple your investment within 6 months. This is a guaranteed opportunity that cannot fail." Another fake message to Robert promised, "Dad, your banking experience would be invaluable in managing our expansion. Your $50,000 will become at least $150 by Christmas." Patricia took the witness stand first wearing a black dress that made her appear vulnerable and sympathetic. Her testimony was a masterpiece of emotional manipulation that would have impressed professional actresses. Tears flowed naturally as she described her excitement about supporting my business dreams and her devastating realization that I had betrayed their trust. We gave John every opportunity to succeed. She sobbed, dabbing her eyes with tissues that Kellerman had thoughtfully provided. "We believed in him when nobody else would invest. We emptied our retirement savings because we trusted our son completely." She claimed that I had promised their investment would be completely safe, comparing CloudGuard to established technology companies like Microsoft and Apple. According to her testimony, I had guaranteed that venture capitalists were eager to fund my company and that their money would multiply quickly through my connections in the tech industry. John told us that other startups were desperate to acquire CloudGuard's technology. Patricia continued her voice breaking with practiced emotion. He said we could become millionaires by supporting his company during its early growth phase. Robert's testimony complemented Patricia's performance with devastating effectiveness. His 30 years in banking lent credibility to his assessment of my financial mismanagement and deceptive practices. He spoke quietly but confidently about red flags he should have noticed earlier. "My son showed me impressive financial projections that looked too good to be true," Robert explained to the jury. "But I wanted to believe in him. I ignored my banking instincts because he was family." He claimed that I had provided fabricated financial statements showing CloudGuard generating substantial monthly profits when the company was actually losing money. According to his testimony, I had created fake client contracts and invented revenue streams to convince them that investing was risk-free. "John promised that our $50,000 would be secured by assets and existing contracts," Robert continued. "He said the money would be completely protected even if CloudGuard faced challenges." Emily's testimony was perhaps the most damaging because her reputation for honesty made her words particularly credible. She reluctantly took the stand, wearing scrubs from her hospital shift, appearing tired and emotionally conflicted about testifying against her brother. "John has always struggled with money management," she said quietly, avoiding eye contact with me. "Even in college, he would borrow money from friends and family without paying it back. Mom and Dad always covered his debts because they loved him." She described specific incidents from our childhood, where I had supposedly stolen money from her piggy bank, taken cash from Patricia's purse, and lied about losing school lunch money. These stories were complete fabrications, but Emily's reluctant delivery made them appear genuine. Former employees who had been secretly working with Marcus also testified against me. Jennifer Walsh claimed that I had instructed her to hide financial problems from investors and create false progress reports about software development. Tom Rodriguez alleged that I had demanded he lie to clients about CloudGuard's capabilities and customer satisfaction rates. The most devastating testimony came from Lisa Chen, who had handled CloudGuard's accounting and payroll responsibilities. She produced records showing irregular expense patterns and questionable business purchases that suggested I was using company funds for personal benefits. John would authorize payments for expensive dinners, luxury hotels, and designer clothing, Lisa testified. When I questioned these expenses, he said they were necessary for maintaining his professional image. Throughout this parade of damaging testimony, Sarah Chen asked surprisingly few questions during cross-examination. She appeared almost disinterested in challenging the prosecution's narrative, occasionally nodding and taking notes, but rarely objecting to obviously fabricated evidence. Her passive approach worried me deeply, as our case seemed to collapse under the weight of overwhelming accusations. But during Patricia's testimony, something unexpected happened that would change everything. While describing our family's financial struggles, she accidentally mentioned a recent vacation to Hawaii that I knew nothing about. "Robert and I have been so stressed about this situation that we needed to take a small trip to clear our heads," Patricia said casually. "The Hawaii vacation helped us process our emotions about John's betrayal." Sarah's gentle questioning revealed that this vacation had been paid for just 2 weeks after my parents' initial investment in CloudGuard. The timing struck Judge Harrison as peculiar, and he asked for more details about how they could afford an expensive trip to Hawaii while claiming financial hardship from my alleged theft. Patricia realized her mistake immediately and tried to backtrack, claiming the vacation had been planned and saved for over many months. But Sarah produced airline receipts and hotel bills, showing the trip had been booked and paid for on the same day Robert received his first payment from Marcus Thompson. The courtroom atmosphere shifted subtly as people began questioning Patricia's credibility. If my parents were experiencing financial stress from my alleged embezzlement, how could they afford spontaneous vacations to Hawaii? Sarah's calm confidence suddenly made perfect sense as she prepared to reveal information that would expose the entire conspiracy. Judge Harrison called for a brief recess as murmurs of confusion spread through the courtroom gallery. Extended family members who had come to witness my public humiliation began whispering questions about Patricia's Hawaii vacation testimony. Robert's face had turned pale when Sarah mentioned the specific dates and payment methods, and Emily looked genuinely shocked to learn about a family trip she had not been told about. When court resumed, Sarah Chen transformed from a passive observer into a methodical prosecutor who had been gathering evidence for months. She began by requesting permission to present new financial documents that had been submitted to the court that morning. Judge Harrison, intrigued by the Hawaii vacation discrepancy, granted her request to expand the scope of evidence. Sarah's first witness was Dr. Michael Stevens, a financial forensics expert from the University of Minnesota who specialized in corporate fraud detection. Dr. Stevens had analyzed every bank transaction email communication and financial record related to CloudGuard analytics, and had discovered a complex pattern of external manipulation. Your Honor, my analysis reveals systematic financial manipulation designed to damage CloudGuard analytics while enriching third parties through fraudulent means, Dr. Stevens testified. The defendant, John, appears to be the victim of an elaborate corporate espionage scheme rather than the perpetrator of embezzlement. He presented detailed tracking reports showing payments from Tech Secure Solutions to multiple members of my family over a 6-month period. Robert had received 3 separate payments totaling $15,000. Patricia had been paid $8,000 for consulting services she had never actually performed, and Emily had received $5,000 that was deposited into her checking account without her knowledge. The financial trail revealed that Marcus Thompson had been funding my family's lifestyle improvements while simultaneously convincing them that I was stealing their retirement savings. The Hawaii vacation, Patricia's new Buick Enclave, Robert's kitchen renovations, and Emily's student loan payments had all been secretly subsidized by Tech Secure Solutions. This pattern suggests psychological manipulation designed to create financial dependency while fostering resentment toward the defendant, Dr. Stevens explained. The perpetrator provided financial benefits to family members while attributing their economic stress to the defendant's alleged misconduct. Sarah's second witness was Detective Angela Rodriguez from the Minneapolis Police Department's Financial Crimes Division, who had been investigating Tech Secure Solutions for corporate espionage and wire fraud. Detective Rodriguez had been working with federal authorities to track Marcus Thompson's illegal business practices across multiple states. We have been monitoring Mr. Thompson's activities for 8 months, Detective Rodriguez testified. Tech Secure Solutions has been systematically targeting small tech companies throughout the Midwest using identical manipulation tactics. CloudGuard Analytics represents the 4th company Mr. Thompson has attempted to acquire through fraudulent means. She presented evidence showing that Marcus had used the same psychological manipulation techniques against entrepreneurs in Wisconsin, Iowa, and Illinois. His standard procedure involved identifying successful startups, researching the founders' family relationships, and then corrupting relatives through financial incentives and emotional manipulation. Mr. Thompson creates detailed psychological profiles of his target's family members, identifying financial insecurities and personal weaknesses that can be exploited. Detective Rodriguez continued. He then provides monetary benefits to those family members while convincing them that their relative is incompetent or dishonest. The detective's testimony revealed phone records showing hundreds of calls between Marcus and Robert over 6 months, documented meetings at restaurants throughout Minneapolis, and financial transfers that correlated directly with family testimony against me. Marcus had been coaching Robert on what to say in court, providing Patricia with fabricated evidence to support their lawsuit, and manipulating Emily into believing I was financially irresponsible. Sarah's most dramatic revelation came through recorded conversations that the FBI had obtained through wiretaps approved for their corporate espionage investigation. The recordings captured Marcus laughing about how easily he had manipulated my family into betraying me while discussing his plans to steal CloudGuard's technology and client base. Robert is so desperate to feel important again that he believes everything I tell him about business, Marcus could be heard saying during one recorded phone call. Patricia just wants to appear financially sophisticated in front of her real estate colleagues, so she pretends to understand investment strategies she knows nothing about. Even more damaging was a conversation where Marcus outlined his plans to frame me for embezzlement while stealing CloudGuard's proprietary software to sell to foreign competitors. Once John's reputation is destroyed, nobody will believe him when he discovers I have taken his technology. He will appear to be a desperate liar trying to save his failed company. The recordings revealed that Marcus had been planning to acquire CloudGuard's cybersecurity algorithms and client database to sell to Chinese technology firms for over $50 million. My parents' lawsuit was designed to distract attention from his corporate theft while making me appear criminally incompetent. But Sarah's most shocking revelation was yet to come. She presented a copy of the Forbes magazine article that Judge Harrison had mentioned in passing, which had been published just 3 days earlier. The article was titled "Midwest Cybersecurity Startups Lead Innovation Revolution" and featured CloudGuard Analytics prominently as one of the 10 most successful emerging technology companies in America. The Forbes piece revealed that CloudGuard had successfully completed a Series A funding round securing $15 million from Sequoia Capital, one of Silicon Valley's most prestigious venture capital firms. The article praised my company's innovative fraud detection algorithms and projected that CloudGuard could become worth over $100 million within 3 years. According to Sequoia Capital's investment analysis, CloudGuard Analytics has developed revolutionary cybersecurity technology with applications across multiple industries. Sarah read from the Forbes article. The company's founder, John, has been recognized as one of America's most promising young entrepreneurs in the financial technology sector. The courtroom erupted in shocked whispers as people realized the magnitude of Marcus's deception. My parents sat stunned as they learned that their son's company was worth $45 million and that their lawsuit was based entirely on fabricated evidence. Emily covered her face with her hands as she understood how thoroughly she had been manipulated into betraying her brother. Judge Harrison's expression had transformed from skeptical curiosity to barely controlled anger as the scope of the conspiracy became clear. He ordered an immediate investigation into all evidence presented by Kellerman and demanded that Marcus Thompson be brought to the courthouse immediately for questioning. But Marcus was nowhere to be found. Tech Secure Solutions offices had been mysteriously abandoned that morning, with employees reporting that Marcus had not appeared for work and was not answering phone calls. Federal marshals were already searching for him, as additional charges of wire fraud, corporate espionage, and conspiracy were being prepared. Judge Harrison called for an extended recess as federal agents flooded the courthouse to coordinate with local law enforcement. FBI Special Agent Catherine Williams arrived within 30 minutes to take control of what had transformed from a family financial dispute into a federal crime investigation involving corporate espionage and wire fraud. Marcus Thompson was arrested in the courthouse lobby as he attempted to flee through a service entrance. He had been monitoring the trial proceedings from a coffee shop across the street, apparently confident that his manipulation scheme would succeed in destroying my reputation and business. Federal marshals apprehended him while he was purchasing a one-way airline ticket to Costa Rica on his mobile phone. Special Agent Williams presented additional evidence that revealed the true scope of Marcus's criminal enterprise. Tech Secure Solutions had been operating as a front company for an international technology theft ring that targeted American startups with valuable intellectual property. Marcus had been working with foreign operatives to steal cybersecurity algorithms, customer databases, and proprietary software for sale to competitors in China and Russia. Mr. Thompson's scheme extended far beyond personal revenge against his former college roommate, Agent Williams testified. CloudGuard Analytics possessed cybersecurity technology worth potentially hundreds of millions of dollars on the international black market. Destroying John's reputation was merely the first step in a larger plan to steal and sell American intellectual property to foreign adversaries. The FBI had been investigating Marcus for over a year as part of a broader operation targeting corporate espionage networks throughout the Midwest. CloudGuard Analytics had attracted their attention when unusual network intrusions were detected originating from IP addresses linked to known foreign intelligence operations. Our cybersecurity analysts identified CloudGuard's fraud detection algorithms as potentially valuable to foreign governments seeking to penetrate American financial institutions, Agent Williams explained. Mr. Thompson was recruited to acquire this technology through whatever means necessary. Jennifer Walsh. Tom Rodriguez and Lisa Chen were arrested simultaneously at their respective homes as federal agents executed search warrants for evidence of their participation in the corporate espionage scheme. All three employees had been receiving payments from shell companies controlled by Marcus and his foreign handlers in exchange for copying CloudGuard's source code and client information. Sarah Chen revealed that she had been working secretly with federal investigators for 2 months after they approached her with evidence of the conspiracy against me. Her passive courtroom strategy had been designed to allow Marcus's co-conspirators to perjure themselves while federal agents gathered additional evidence. We needed Patricia, Robert, and Emily to testify truthfully about their interactions with Mr. Thompson so we could document the full scope of his manipulation tactics, Sarah explained to Judge Harrison. Their testimony has provided crucial evidence for prosecuting an international corporate espionage ring. The Forbes magazine article that had triggered Judge Harrison's suspicions was actually part of the FBI investigation. Federal agents had worked with Forbes journalists to publish accurate information about CloudGuard's success and Series A funding round to expose the lies underlying Marcus's manipulation scheme. Sequoia Capital representatives confirmed via video conference that CloudGuard Analytics had indeed completed a $15 million Series A funding round, making it one of the most successful technology investments in Minnesota history. The venture capital firm's due diligence had revealed that my cybersecurity algorithms were potentially worth over $200 million in licensing fees alone. CloudGuard's fraud detection technology represents a significant advancement in financial cybersecurity, testified Dr. Sarah Johnson Sequoia, Capital's Chief Technology Officer. John has developed algorithms that can identify fraudulent financial transactions with 97% accuracy, making his software invaluable for banks, credit card companies, and online retailers. The revelation that my company was worth $45 million personally for me left the courtroom gallery speechless. Extended family members who had come to witness my humiliation instead learned that I had become one of Minnesota's youngest tech millionaires while they were believing lies about my incompetence. Robert and Patricia faced potential criminal charges for their participation in the conspiracy, but federal prosecutors offered them immunity in exchange for complete cooperation with the investigation. They would be required to repay all money received from Marcus, plus damages to CloudGuard Analytics, but they would avoid prison sentences if they testified truthfully about his manipulation tactics. Emily broke down completely when she learned that the $5,000 deposited into her checking account had come from Marcus, rather than a nursing scholarship she thought she had won. She had unknowingly participated in the conspiracy while believing she was helping her brother succeed through family support. I thought I was being a good sister by encouraging Mom and Dad to invest in your company. Emily sobbed as she apologized to me during another recess. I had no idea someone was manipulating all of us to destroy you. The federal investigation revealed that Marcus had planned to disappear to Costa Rica after CloudGuard's bankruptcy, taking with him stolen technology worth over $50 million. Foreign operatives had already prepared to purchase my cybersecurity algorithms through intermediaries in Mexico and Panama, before reselling them to Chinese technology firms. TechSecure Solutions filed for bankruptcy within hours of Marcus's arrest, as clients canceled contracts and investors withdrew funding. The company's entire business model had been based on technology theft rather than legitimate innovation, making it worthless without access to stolen intellectual property. Judge Harrison dismissed all charges against me and referred the case to federal prosecutors for criminal investigation of Marcus and his co-conspirators. He also ordered a complete investigation into David Kellerman's law firm to determine whether they had knowingly presented fabricated evidence to the court. This case represents one of the most elaborate corporate espionage schemes this court has ever encountered, Judge Harrison declared. The systematic manipulation of family relationships to facilitate technology theft demonstrates the sophisticated nature of modern corporate crime. The courtroom gallery filled with people who had expected to witness my professional destruction instead observed the exposure of an international conspiracy that had targeted American intellectual property. Local news reporters rushed to file stories about how a family lawsuit had uncovered a foreign espionage operation in suburban Minneapolis. 6 months later, justice had been served in ways that exceeded my wildest expectations for vindication and redemption. Marcus Thompson received 5 years in federal prison for corporate espionage, wire fraud, and conspiracy to steal trade secrets for foreign adversaries. The federal judge who sentenced him noted that his manipulation of family relationships represented a particularly heinous form of betrayal that struck at the foundation of American values. TechSecure Solutions' bankruptcy proceedings revealed the full scope of Marcus's criminal enterprise. Federal investigators discovered that he had attempted to steal technology from over 30 American companies across the Midwest, successfully acquiring trade secrets worth an estimated $300 million before his arrest. CloudGuard Analytics represented his most ambitious target due to the potential value of my cybersecurity algorithms. The international connections to Marcus's operation led to diplomatic protests and new federal legislation targeting foreign espionage efforts against American technology companies. My case became a landmark example of how corporate crime had evolved to exploit personal relationships and family dynamics in pursuit of valuable intellectual property. Jennifer Walsh, Tom Rodriguez, and Lisa Chen each received 18-month prison sentences for their roles in the conspiracy. All 3 employees had believed they were simply helping a competitor rather than participating in international espionage, but their theft of proprietary information had facilitated millions of dollars in damages to American companies. David Kellerman faced disbarment proceedings for presenting fabricated evidence to the court, though he claimed he had been deceived by his clients about the authenticity of their documentation. The Minnesota State Bar Association ultimately suspended his license for 2 years and required extensive ethics training before reinstatement. My parents' relationship with me required extensive rebuilding, but we eventually found our way back to genuine connection based on honesty and mutual respect. Patricia and Robert entered family counseling to address their vulnerability to manipulation and their willingness to betray their own son for financial gain. The therapy sessions were difficult, but necessary for healing the damage that Marcus's scheme had inflicted on our family bonds. We were so afraid of losing our retirement security that we made terrible decisions, Patricia admitted during one particularly emotional counseling session. We should have trusted you instead of believing a stranger who told us what we wanted to hear. Robert struggled more deeply with guilt over his role in the conspiracy. His banking experience should have made him more suspicious of Marcus's promises, but his desire to feel important and financially sophisticated had clouded his judgment. I wanted to believe I was protecting our family's financial future, but I was actually destroying my son's career and reputation. Emily recovered more quickly from her manipulation, partly because her participation had been largely involuntary. She used her experience to develop educational programs at Children's Minnesota about recognizing and resisting psychological manipulation tactics. Her nursing background provided valuable insights into how criminals exploit people's emotional vulnerabilities. Marcus identified exactly what each of us needed to hear to make us turn against John. Emily explained to a conference of healthcare professionals. He promised Dad relevance, Mom sophistication, and me family harmony. We each got something we wanted in exchange for betraying someone we loved. CloudGuard Analytics Series. A funding round expanded to $22 million after the positive publicity surrounding our victory over corporate espionage. Sequoia Capital increased their investment based on demonstrated market demand and the proven value of our cybersecurity technology. Additional venture capital firms competed to participate in our funding round, driving up CloudGuard's valuation beyond all expectations. The company now employs 47 people across offices in Minneapolis, Chicago, and Austin. Our fraud detection software protects over 3,000 small businesses nationwide, and we have licensing agreements with major banks and credit card companies worth over $60 million annually. The technology that Marcus tried to steal now generates legitimate revenue that benefits American workers and protects American businesses. Forbes magazine featured me on their 30 Under 30 list in the technology category, highlighting CloudGuard's success in developing innovative cybersecurity solutions while overcoming corporate espionage attempts. The article noted that my experience had made me an advocate for stronger protections against foreign technology theft and family manipulation schemes. My personal life also found new stability and happiness. Amanda's departure during my darkest hours had actually cleared the path for meeting someone who truly understood entrepreneurial challenges and supported my vision for CloudGuard's future. Jessica, a venture capital analyst at Sequoia Capital, who had worked on our investment due diligence, shared my passion for technology innovation and building meaningful businesses. What impressed me most was not your technology, though it is remarkable, but your integrity under pressure, Jessica told me during our first date. Most people would have compromised their principles to protect their reputation, but you chose honesty even when it seemed like you would lose everything. The Minneapolis Star-Tribune published a front-page retraction and investigative series about corporate espionage targeting Midwest technology companies. Their reporting helped expose similar schemes in Wisconsin, Iowa, and Illinois, leading to federal task forces dedicated to protecting American intellectual property from foreign theft attempts. Local law enforcement agencies now use CloudGuard's software to detect financial crimes and cybersecurity breaches throughout Minnesota. Our technology has prevented over $15 million in fraud losses while helping prosecute criminals who target small businesses and vulnerable populations. The experience taught me that success sometimes attracts betrayal from unexpected sources, but staying true to your principles and surrounding yourself with trustworthy allies will always lead to genuine achievement that cannot be stolen or destroyed. Building something valuable requires not just technical skills, but also the wisdom to recognize manipulation and the courage to fight for truth, even when everyone seems to be against you. I established the CloudGuard Foundation to help small business owners protect themselves from corporate espionage and family manipulation schemes. The foundation provides free cybersecurity education, legal resources, and emotional support for entrepreneurs who face similar attacks on their businesses and reputations. Robert and Patricia now volunteer for the foundation, using their experience with Marcus's manipulation to help other families recognize and resist similar schemes. Their involvement represents genuine redemption and their commitment to preventing other parents from making the devastating mistakes that nearly destroyed their relationship with their children. We want other families to learn from our errors, Robert explains to Foundation Workshop participants. Trusting strangers over your own children because they tell you what you want to hear is a mistake that can destroy everything you value most. Emily serves on CloudGuard's board of directors, bringing healthcare industry expertise as we expand our cybersecurity services to medical facilities and patient data protection. Her nursing background provides valuable insights into protecting sensitive information while maintaining accessibility for patient care. The Foundation has helped over 200 families recognize and resist corporate manipulation schemes, prevented an estimated $40 million in technology theft, and educated thousands of small business owners about cybersecurity threats. Our success demonstrates that corporate crime can be defeated when victims fight back with truth determination and community support. Looking back on that terrifying day in Judge Harrison's courtroom, I realized that Marcus's conspiracy ultimately strengthened CloudGuard analytics and my family relationships by forcing us to confront difficult truths and rebuild on foundations of genuine trust. The experience was painful, but necessary for achieving the success and happiness that define my life today. Have you ever faced a situation where people you trusted turned against you, but fighting back led to discovering your own strength and achieving greater success than you ever imagined possible? I would love to hear your stories about overcoming betrayal and finding unexpected opportunities in your darkest moments. Please share your experiences in the comments below and let me know how you dealt with people who tried to sabotage your dreams. If this story resonated with you or helped you think differently about family relationships and business challenges, please hit the like button to show your support. Consider subscribing to hear more stories about overcoming adversity and building successful businesses, despite obstacles that seem impossible to overcome. Share this video with friends or family members who might benefit from learning about corporate manipulation tactics and the importance of fighting for truth even when everyone seems to be against you. Thank you for taking this journey with me and for supporting entrepreneurs who refuse to give up when faced with betrayal and deception. I hope my experience encourages you to trust your instincts, protect your dreams, and never stop fighting for what you know is right, even when the odds seem overwhelming. Remember that staying true to your principles and surrounding yourself with people who believe in your vision will always lead to genuine success that cannot be stolen or destroyed by those who choose manipulation over honest achievement.